Good morning, Stage 2, and also a good morning to Stage 3 who are joining us this morning. Today, I'm going to share with you another miracle that Jesus performed, and I just want you to take a moment to think about the miracles that Jesus performed.
After spending 2 days there, Jesus left and went to Galilee, for he himself had said, "Prophets are not respected in their own country." When he arrived in Galilee, the people there welcomed him, because they had gone to the Passover festival in Jerusalem and had seen everything that he had done during the festival. Then Jesus went back to Cana in Galilee, where he had turned the water into wine. A government official was there whose son was sick in Capernaum. Asked him to go to Capernaum and heal his son who was about to die.
None of you will ever believe unless you see miracles and wonders.
Sir, come with me. Before my child dies.
Go. Your son will live.
The man believed Jesus' words and went. On his way home, his servants met him with the news.
Your boy, he's going to live.
He asked them what time it was when his son got better.
It was 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon when the fever left him.
Then the father remembered that it was at that very hour when Jesus had told him.
Your son will live.
So he and all his family believed. This was the second miracle that Jesus performed after coming from Judea to Galilee.
Okay, so I want to share with you two important things from this story. Firstly, it's another example of the power that Jesus had, the power to heal people. So he had power over sickness. And when we understand, when we see that Jesus is powerful over such things as sickness, over nature, then we can also trust that he is powerful over death and sin. If he has the power over sickness, over nature, then he certainly has the power over death and sin. And we see that most importantly when he rose from the dead. Jesus had the power over death. I don't know anybody else that has that power. So that tells us something significant. Jesus was different. He wasn't just, although he came in the form of a man, he wasn't just an ordinary man. He was God. So that raises a question for us. That raises a really important question. Firstly, do you believe that Jesus was more than just a man? That's an important question for you to ask, and I hope that you're starting to think about that. Do you believe that Jesus was not just a man? He came in the form of a man, but when we see his miracles, it raises a question. Well, maybe Jesus was more than just a man. The second thing that's important that comes out of this particular miracle is all the detail. You know, the Bible is really good at recording the detail of these events that happened. Remember, they're not just stories, they're true events. And what I loved about this video is that it puts it in the context of history. We get to see what it would have been like, what Jesus might have been wearing at that time, the kind of travel arrangements. The Bible captures all of that detail, the detail of the story. And what's important to know is that at the time that Jesus said to the official, "Go, your son is healed," that was the very time that the son was healed. So when Jesus said, "Go, your son is healed," the official left Jesus' presence and went on his journey. Now, it may have taken him at least a day to get back to his hometown. But in that time, some of the official's employees came back to him and said, "Hey, your son is healed." How wonderful. And the official realized that his son, when he said to his employees, "Hey, when was my son healed? When did this happen?" He realized that it had happened at the exact moment that Jesus had said the words, "Go, your son would be healed." The Bible records for us all of this detail so that we can believe that Jesus was more than a man. He came in the form of a man, but he was God. He was God, and he had power over sickness, over nature. He had the power over sight. He had the power over physical being, the power to make people who were lame to walk again. Now, I don't know any other human being that has those powers. Only Jesus had that power. And so the question for us today is, well, what do we believe? Do we believe that Jesus was more than just a man? That he was, in fact, God? And then if we accept that, if we see, okay, Jesus was more than just a man, he was God, then there's some other questions that we need to ask ourselves. If he was more than just a man, then what he says about knowing God is going to be super important. So if I believe that Jesus was more than just a man, then I will want to pay attention to everything that he says about God. Then maybe if he was more than just a man, then all the things that he tells us about God and who he is and how we can know him must also be true. If Jesus was more than just a man, if he was God and had the powers, the same powers that God has over creation, over sickness, over death, then the things that he says about God must also be true. So next time your teachers are talking to you about what the things that Jesus says and he does, I want you to think carefully. What does that mean for me? Do I believe these things that are being said about God? And ask yourself some questions. What am I going to do with that information that I have now about God? What am I going to do? Because Jesus says some really important things about who God is, things that we need to take seriously. Thanks stage 2 and thanks stage 3. I want to thank you again for those who just showed so much self-control and were able to use the chat appropriately for answering my questions. Thank you to those students. I'm going to say goodbye for now. And remember that next time we catch up, next Friday, we'll be halfway through term 3. Goodbye for now.